Hi students, in this video we will review questions number 58 to 62 of the 2023 SHSAT practice exam. Grab a notebook and pencil and let's get started. Number 58, the figure below shows a circle with a hole in the middle. The outer diameter of the circle is 1 1/4 inches. The diameter of the hole is 1/4 inch. What is the area of the shaded region to the nearest hundredth of a square inch? Here's our quick tip. The area of the shaded region is the area of the outer shape minus the area of the white part. We have two circles here. Let's write out our equation. So the area of the shaded region will be pi times the larger radius squared minus pi times the smaller radius squared. Let's calculate the radius. Since the radius is half the diameter, we will take the diameter of the larger circle, which is 5/4. That is how we convert 1 1/4 into an improper fraction, and we will divide that by 2. So we have 5/4 times 1/2, which gives us 5/8. That's the radius of the larger circle. So our area is pi times 5/8 squared. The radius for the smaller circle is 1/4 divided by 2, which is 1/4 times 1/2, which becomes 1/8. So the area of the smaller circle is pi times 1/8 squared. We now have pi times 25/64 minus pi times 1/64. When we subtract these two quantities, we have 24/64 pi. It's almost like these are combining like terms. They both have a pi attached to it. Now we can simplify the fraction. 24 divided by 8 is 3, and 64 divided by 8 is 8. So our area is 3/8 pi. Because the question asks us to express the final answer to the nearest hundredth of a square inch, we need to actually turn the final answer into a decimal format. We will use pi equals 3.14. Let's go ahead and multiply 3.14 times 3, then we can divide by 8. So we have 3.14 times 3. We have 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4, and 3 times 3 is 9. 3.14 times 3 is 9.42. Our final step is to divide 9.42 by 8. When we divide 9.42 divided by 8, if 8 into 9 goes one time, we're going to line up the decimal point. Remember, since 8 goes into 9 one time, there's a remainder of 1. We can place the 1 right next to the 4, so now we have 14. 14 divided by 8 goes one time with a remainder of 6. 8 goes into 62 7 times, since 8 times 7 is 56. So there's a remainder of 6. I will place the 6 right over here and add an extra 0. And we know that 8 goes into 60 7 times. Since we are rounding to the nearest hundredth of a square inch, right, we will look at 1.177. We want to identify, should the 7 move up to an 8 or stay the same? We're going to look next door. I love the saying, 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, let it rest. Since 7 is 5 or more, we're going to raise the score. So we have 1.18 inches squared. To fill in our answer in the grid, we will start right here in the white box. Remember, we only start in the gray box if the number is negative. Since the number is positive, we will write a 1 right here, a decimal point, a 1 and an 8. Then we will fill in the 1 right here, a decimal point, a 1 right here, and the 8. Please remember that the most important part of this process is you filling in the bubbles. If you only write it at the top, you will get the question incorrect. So be sure to fill in the bubbles nice and dark so you can get full credit. Number 59. A homeowner has a budget of $135 for the installation of a light fixture. An electrician charges $60 per hour plus a one-time trip charge of $45. What is the greatest amount of time in hours the electrician can work on the installation while staying within the homeowner's budget? Write your answer as a decimal. We will set up an equation to solve the problem. Since the budget is $135, that means we have to come in at less than or equal to $135. We also know that the cost is $60 per hour. So let's say that's 60 times H. And then there's a one-time trip charge of $45. So that's happening only one time. Consider this a linear equation. We have 60H plus 45 must come in at less than or equal to $135. Let's solve this inequality. We will subtract 45 on both sides. And now we have 60H is less than or equal to 90. Then we will divide both sides by 60. Now we have H is less than or equal to 90 over 60. Let's cancel out what we can. The zeros will cancel out, and I know that 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So H has to be less than or equal to 1.5. That means the maximum amount of hours, or the greatest amount of time, is going to be 1.5. Let's write in our answer. We have 1 right here, then a decimal point, then 5. And remember, the most important part are these bubbles. We're going to bubble in the 1, we will bubble in the decimal point, and we will bubble in the 5. We're looking good so far. Final answer, 1.5. Number 60. The list shows the daily low temperatures in a city during 6 days in the winter. What is the difference between the lowest and highest temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit for the 6 days? The first step here is to order the numbers from least to greatest. 7 will be over here. 4 will be right here. 1 will be right here. -2 will be over here. -5 will be right here. And let's squeeze the 3 in right here. So let's just double check. We have 7, we have 4, we have 1, -2, -5, and 3. These are our 6 numbers. And the question is to find the difference, which is subtraction, between the lowest and highest temperatures. So that means we will subtract -5 from 7. That means 7 minus -5. When you subtract a negative number, it changes to a positive. So we have 7 plus 5 equals 12. We will write the number 12 at the top, and then we will bubble in the number 1 and 2 right here at the bottom. Number 61. The grocery store sells 1-gallon containers of milk for $3.99. So let's write that down. 1 gallon for $3.99. The store also sells orange juice in a 6-pack. So that's 6 in a pack of 5.5 fluid ounces for $1.79. Suppose the store wants to sell its orange juice in gallon containers instead. To the nearest dollar, how much more would a gallon of orange juice cost than a gallon of milk? Let's start by figuring out just how many ounces are in the 6-pack. Since the 6-pack has 5.5 fluid ounces, we can go ahead and multiply 5.5 times 6 to determine how many total ounces are coming in the 6-pack. Since 6 times 5 is 30, we will write the 0, carry the 3. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 3 is 33.0 ounces in total. So guess what? 33 ounces costs $1.79. But we need to know how much 128 ounces will cost, right? Because 1 gallon is equal to 128 fluid ounces. Now that we have our proportion, we can go ahead and cross multiply. We're going to need a little bit more space, so I'm going to go ahead and clear off the screen. When we cross multiply, we have 33x equals $1.79 times 128. Let's multiply these two numbers. So 128 times 1.79. We know there's going to be 2 places in the decimal point. Let's get started. So when we multiply 9 times 128, we get 1152. Now let's multiply 128 by 7. We have 896. Now let's multiply 128 by 1. 128 times 1 is 128. Now let's add what we have here. So we have 2, 6 plus 5 is 11, 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 1 is 11, 11 plus 8 is 19. Then we have 8 plus 1 plus 1, which is 10, plus 2 is 12, and 1 plus 1 is 2. Remember, our final answer needs to have 2 places after the decimal point. So we are going to move 2 places to the left right here, 229.12. So 33x equals 229.12. Our last step is to divide both sides of this equation by 33. Let's see what our final answer is. So the cost is $6.94 if you were to sell the orange juice as a gallon. The question is asking us to the nearest dollar, how much more would a gallon of orange juice cost than a gallon of milk? So we have $6.94 minus $3.99. When we subtract, we have $2.95. And since the question says to the nearest dollar, we will round this to $3. So I will write the number 3 here at the top in the white box and bubble in the number 3 right here. Number 62, monthly high temperatures in New York, and we have a box and whisker plot here. The box plot shows the average monthly high temperatures in New York City for 12 months. What is the difference between the range and the interquartile range of the temperature data? To calculate the range, we will take the biggest number, which is 84, right? So the range is 84 minus the smallest number, which is approximately, let's say 39. I noticed that the difference between 36 and 40 is 4. Right halfway would be 38. So right in the middle here looks like 39. 84 minus 39 is 45. In order to calculate the interquartile range, we will take the third quartile, which is 78, and subtract the first quartile, which is 48. So we have 78 minus 48 is 30. The final question asks us to calculate the difference, which means we're going to subtract the range minus the IQR, which is the interquartile range. 45 minus 30 is 15. We will write in 15 here at the top. Then we will bubble in the number 1 and bubble in the number 5 right here. If you notice, several of the questions in this problem set required a lot of arithmetic. Make sure you practice how to multiply 3-digit numbers, and you're very comfortable converting fractions to decimals as well. The newer versions of the SHSAT are very arithmetic intensive, so you're going to have to master some of those foundational skills. If you learned something in this video, please go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.